Welcome back to the channel, where we bring you the most jaw-dropping developments in the NFL and everything that's shaking up the Dallas Cowboys world. Today's story is exactly the kind of seismic news that turns contenders into championship favorites. And it's no exaggeration to say the Cowboys just struck defensive gold. Yes, you've heard that right. C.J. Mosley, one of the league's most reliable and hardest-hitting linebackers, is officially joining the Dallas Cowboys, and this move might just be the missing piece this team needed to push past the playoff ceiling and into Super Bowl territory. If you're a Cowboys fan or just a lover of well-executed, gutsy football decisions, buckle up, because what's happening in Dallas right now isn't just a roster shift, it's a full-scale declaration that the Cowboys are not here to play games this season. They're here to win. And they're starting with a thunderclap. Let's break this all the way down because there's so much more to this move than just a high-profile name switching jerseys. C.J. Mosley isn't just any linebacker, he's a former first-round pick, a four-time Pro Bowler, and a player who's built a career on intelligence, aggression, and the ability to completely take over a defensive huddle. For years, he's been the glue holding together defenses, first with the Baltimore Ravens and then with the New York Jets, where he was handed a massive contract to be the cornerstone of their rebuild. And while the Jets' progress was always up and down, Mosley's performance rarely wavered. He was dependable, productive, and most importantly respected. That kind of leadership is gold in the NFL. And now the Cowboys have it. This is a game-changing acquisition for a defense that already has some serious firepower. Micah Parsons is obviously the headline machine, the playmaker, and the spark. But every spark needs structure, every wild card needs an anchor, and C.J. Mosley brings just that. He brings the football IQ to read offenses like an open book, the tackling prowess to bring down runners at the line of scrimmage, and the vocal leadership to elevate everyone around him. Imagine this: Micah Parsons unleashed on the edge while Mosley handles the middle of the field, calling plays, diagnosing formations, and giving the Cowboys a veteran presence who won't be shaken under pressure. It's the kind of 1-2 punch that could terrorize offensive coordinators from week 1 onward. What's even more impressive is how this move fits into the broader Cowboys strategy. Let's be real, the Cowboys front office has been criticized in the past for being too conservative, too reactive instead of proactive. But this move? This is bold. This is strategic. This is proactive to the core. The Cowboys looked at their weaknesses, saw that they needed more leadership and consistency in the linebacker room, and they went out and got arguably the best veteran available to address it. This isn't about plugging a hole, it's about setting the foundation for a top-tier defense. This is a Super Bowl chess move in a league where too many teams are playing checkers. Let's talk about what C.J. Mosley brings statistically and stylistically. He's coming off another 150-plus tackle season. That's elite production. We're talking about a linebacker who is still moving like he did in his prime, reading offenses at an expert level, and racking up stops in both run support and pass coverage. He's not a liability in space, he doesn't miss assignments, and he sure doesn't shy away from contact. Mosley is a throwback to the old-school middle linebackers who could control the tempo of a game, but he brings modern versatility that makes him just as valuable against spread offenses and mobile quarterbacks. In today's NFL, that combination is almost priceless. Now let's shift to the locker room dynamics because this aspect cannot be overstated. The Cowboys have a lot of young, talented defensive players, guys like Damone Clark, DeMarvion Overshown, and of course, Micah Parsons, but they've been missing that steady, seasoned field general. Someone who's been through it all. Someone who can be a calming influence when the bullets are flying and the momentum is slipping. That's C.J. Mosley. He's going to mentor the young guys, demand accountability, and bring that Ravens-like toughness that's been missing at times from this defense. He's not just going to lead by example, he's going to hold this defense to a higher standard every single down. This move also sends a loud and clear message to the rest of the NFC. The Cowboys are loading up. They're not satisfied with just winning the NFC East or grabbing a wild card spot. No, this team wants to dominate. And when you look at the offenses they're going to face, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles twice, the 49ers with their layered schemes, and maybe even a rematch against the Packers in the playoffs, they needed this kind of upgrade. Mosley gives them that. He makes them scarier on third down. He gives Dan Quinn a new toy to play with in terms of stunts, blitz packages, and coverage disguises. With Mosley in the fold, the Cowboys just expanded their entire defensive playbook. And how about this for a storyline? The Cowboys poaching a defensive centerpiece from the AFC East, where Mosley spent the last few years battling Josh Allen, Tua Tagovailoa, and Bill Belichick's schemes. He's been forged in some of the most complex, high-pressure environments in football. And now he's bringing all that experience to a Cowboys team that has been knocking on the door but hasn't quite been able to kick it down. If Mosley's presence is what finally gets them over that hump, what finally turns them into the kind of team that doesn't fold in January, this could be remembered as one of the most important free agent signings in Cowboys history. And yes, we've got to talk money too. The Cowboys front office managed to make this deal work financially without compromising their long-term flexibility. That's huge. With looming contract talks involving Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons, being able to land a player of Mosley's caliber without mortgaging the future is a masterstroke. It speaks to smart cap management, something the Cowboys have been hit or miss with in recent years. But this time, they nailed it. Let's not forget how this move boosts morale, not just for the defense but for the whole organization. CJ Mosley isn't a flashy receiver or a highlight reel quarterback. He's a worker. He's a guy who grinds in the film room, leads the conditioning drills, and shows up when the lights are the brightest. Adding him signals to the rest of the team that the front office is serious about winning now. And when players see that kind of commitment from ownership and management, it elevates the entire culture. It breeds confidence, hunger, and a next-man-up mentality that's critical for postseason success. The fan base, as expected, is buzzing, and rightly so. This is a fan base that's been starved for meaningful playoff success and often left frustrated by conservative or head-scratching decisions. But not this time. This time, they're getting exactly what they've been begging for: a proactive move to strengthen a unit that's already close to elite. The reaction online has been overwhelmingly positive, with fans, analysts, and even former players praising the move as a potential season changer. It's not often that one linebacker signing can shift the perception of a team's destiny, but this is one of those rare times. So what's next? What does this mean for the Cowboys' defensive schemes, rotation, and the players around him? Expect a domino effect. Guys like Leighton Vander Esch, if healthy, won't have to shoulder as much of the responsibility. Younger players can be eased in rather than thrown into the fire. Parsons might get even more pass rushing reps, maximizing his explosiveness off the edge. And Dan Quinn will finally have the chess pieces he's been craving: versatile, smart, physical players who can adapt mid-drive and communicate at a high level. The Cowboys' defense just became more dangerous, more flexible, and more prepared for playoff football. But let's not crown them just yet. As much as this move deserves celebration, football is still played on the field. Chemistry has to build. Roles have to be defined. And CJ Mosley, as great as he is, will still have to adapt to a new system, new teammates, and a new level of expectations in a market where every move is magnified. But if his career so far has taught us anything, it's that he thrives in pressure environments. He's built for moments like this. And if he delivers the way many expect him to, the Cowboys may have just pulled off the most underappreciated masterstroke of the entire offseason. So as training camp approaches, all eyes will be on how this new-look Cowboys defense starts to take shape. Will Mosley take the green dot and run the show from day one? Will his presence allow Parsons to break records as a pass rusher? Will this defense, already one of the league's most feared, reach a level we haven't seen since the Doomsday Era? Time will tell. But one thing is certain, the Cowboys are done waiting. They're done hoping. They're taking action. And with CJ Mosley in the heart of that defense, they might just be on the verge of something truly special. Stay locked in with us right here, because we'll be covering every step of this Cowboys revolution. From training camp battles to preseason shifts, and into what's shaping up to be one of the most anticipated regular seasons in years. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to hit that button, turn on notifications, and don't miss a second of the action as the Dallas Cowboys rewrite their story. This CJ Mosley signing is just the beginning. Strap in, because things are about to get intense.